Initially, some of the brothers were thinking, maybe we could just simply watch the pre-recorded meetings on JW Stream. Well, while that's an excellent provision, if we were going to do this for a long time, it would be wonderful to use a tool that would allow the brothers and sisters to come together virtually, to be able to interact and have that interchange of encouragement. We knew that a few branches had already started using Zoom for congregation meetings, and we wondered, could this tool be used for congregation meetings globally?
So we asked those branches for their recommendations on how we could use this tool further. We got their comments, we did some testing, and then the governing body approved the global use of Zoom for meetings.
We're watching the Jehovah's Witness organization, specifically the governing body, patting itself on the back for its handling of the coronavirus pandemic. In this case, the decision that it took to switch Jehovah's Witness meetings to Zoom. Apparently Zoom was a tool that came to the rescue in helping Jehovah's organization, even though, I can't believe I even need to say this, it's kind of glaringly obvious, even though Zoom isn't a tool provided by Jehovah. Zoom is a worldly company, a worldly service, and the reason why subscriptions had to be bought by congregations is because they were having to pay another organization. If the organization itself already had at its disposal its own version of Zoom that worked brilliantly, that was just as good as Zoom in every way, that still would not be proof that Jehovah's hand was guiding Jehovah's Witnesses through the COVID pandemic. It would be impressive, but the claim that's being made here of divine guidance, of God himself helping the organization weather the pandemic, it's just not being supported by the evidence. Yes, it's clever, isn't it, Zoom, but it's not coming from the governing body. It's not coming from Jehovah's Witnesses. They're literally leaning on a worldly invention and acknowledging that this worldly invention, and obviously there are alternatives like Skype and what have you, but let's face it, Zoom is sort of the go-to, but they're leaning on this worldly invention and using it as proof that Jehovah is steering the organization. Am I the only one, viewers? Or is their argument entirely unpersuasive? They're literally just pointing at anything at this point. They're pointing at anything that happened or any decision that needed to be made by the organization and saying, oh, well, we couldn't have made this decision without Jehovah's help. There's no way we could have, figured out what to do as grown adults, as leaders of an organization, without divine help. All the while, other organizations around the world are just dealing with it, are just getting on with it. And also, it should be said, using Zoom themselves. Maybe not necessarily for religious meetings, although it wouldn't surprise me if other religions used Zoom as well. I haven't really researched that. But so what? You used Zoom. It's not proof of God's backing.